Okay, so apparently I have been living under a rock for the past 10 or so years. I came across this podcast recently called Call Her Daddy, which I guess from what I'm seeing is very popular because she has guests like Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, all kinds of celebrities. And the only reason that I even started watching was because she had Chloe Bailey on her podcast. And you know, I love me some Chloe Bailey. And then I came across this one video where she had a guest on called Catherine Pays. I hope I'm saying that right. First of all, her story, I was upset. I was mad. I cried. I was like, what the heck is going on? I was shooketh. But the crazy thing is this story happened a long time ago. And that's why I said I've been living under a rock, because I don't know why maybe because I was young. So her and her husband were influencers together. They had a family together. You know, they built an empire together. And then she finds out over the course of years that he was apparently cheating on her with multiple women. Shook me to my core because apparently this was a scandal. But I don't bring it up to, rehash her past or talk about what happened to her. I bring it up because if you have been watching my channel, or if you haven't, my channel is essentially one big, self-help video where we talk about all the things that you need to do to make sure that you are honing in on that self-love and that self-care, and that you are looking out for yourself. So I came up with 5 points that I think every woman should work on before they get into a relationship. And I will say before I start, I don't think you can stop a man from cheating. If a man wants to cheat, he will cheat. There is nothing that you can do. There is no amount of sexy time that you can give him, no amount of cooking, no matter how good you look. If a man wants to cheat, if that's what he has in his heart, he will cheat. But what you can do is fortify yourself so that if you ever do get into a situation where you're in a relationship and your man cheats or your woman cheats or whoever cheats on you, you know that you will survive. Number 1, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are separate from that man, from that relationship? Because I think when you are in a relationship, especially if you're in a relationship for a really long time, it can be easy to lose yourself because slowly over time, that person can become your identity, can become, you wake up, you see them, you go to sleep, you see them, you wake up, you see them, you go to sleep, you see them. You spend every waking moment together. You go to the movies, you go to this, you go to that, you go to dinner. That person, if you're seriously dating, will become such a major part in your life that if you are not locked in with who you are, it is going to be so easy for you to become what they need instead of what you need for yourself. So what I mean by know who you are, do you know what your values are? What will and won't you accept in a relationship? What are your deal breakers? You know that show Pop the Balloon? Because I watch it from time to time. And one of the questions that she asks is, what are your deal breakers? What are the things that you will and won't accept in a relationship? And I have seen contestants say, I have no deal breakers. Hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean you have no deal breakers? So you're saying in a relationship, you will accept anything? That person can do anything? That is such a freaking red flag. So, matter of fact, before you start dating a man, you need to ask him, what are his deal breakers? And if his deal breakers are like stupid things that don't matter, I think that's a red flag. I think that's something you need to pay attention to. Because a man that has no standards for you means that he has no standards for himself. And just like it's a red flag for him to not have any deal breakers, it's a red flag for you to not have any deal breakers or to not know what you will not accept in a relationship. And when I say will not accept, it can't be like, you say it, but then you don't follow through. Like when your partner does the thing that you say you won't accept, you just, I'll forgive him. He won't do it again. No. Before we get any further into this video, I just want to introduce myself. For those who don't know, my name is Dar, short for Darlene. And if this is your first time coming to my channel, I just want to say welcome. I hope you subscribe and become part of the nation and join me for some girl talk. And if you're coming back to my channel, I just want to say thank you so much for being so loyal and amazing and such a great person. I hope you continue supporting me and we can go back to the video now. You said that this is something that you will not stand for. So if it were to ever happen, these are things that you need to stand 10 toes down on. These are things that you need to walk away on. And I think that is another big thing when it comes to going into a relationship and not knowing yourself, is you don't know when to walk away, because essentially that person becomes your identity. They become you. You do not know yourself without that person. Okay, so let's move on to point number 2. So point number 2 is have your own. Now, I know there are some of us out there, me included, who want a provider. You know what I'm saying? We want a man that's going to take care of us, that's going to provide. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a guy that ain't got no for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want a provider. We want a man that's going to come in and take care of us. And I understand, girly pop. I do. Because that, not going to lie, I also want that. However, in that same breath, I fully believe that while you can have a man that provides for you, yes, you need to be smart about it. You need to have your own. I don't know, tuck it away somewhere, put it in a little bank account that's just yours, put it under your pillow in your closet. I don't know, girl. All I know is it is very important that you have your own. If you have a business with him, maybe do something else on the side that's just you. One of the big things that I noticed from the podcast is because her and, her husband, now ex-husband, because they shared their business together, their whole life together, which was social media. When the news of everything that he was doing, came out, it was harder for her, I think, to walk away because their livelihood were tied together. Because what was his was hers, and what was hers was his. And they ran their business together. Their image was their business. So she couldn't be successful at that point without him, without their business being intertwined. So I think it made it a lot harder for her to walk away. This is only my opinion. Like, I'm not in her head. I don't know. But I think in my opinion, if she had, a portion of, I guess, their dynasty or their empire that they have built, if she had a portion of that was only for her, that was just hers, I think she might have left a lot earlier, or she would have been able to leave a lot earlier. Because I don't know, like, I want to say, like, if I was in her shoes, I'd be like, I'm packing my bags and I'm leaving. And to be honest, I probably would have, because cheating for me is like a no-go. However, I do understand where she came from when she said, like, her whole business was them. Their whole life was that. They were making millions from being a family, from being who they were. So it did become harder for her to walk away. There is nothing wrong with wanting a providing husband. There's nothing wrong with, wanting to be, I guess, a housewife, or a housewife. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you choose, that's what you want for your life, please live in love and live in life, be happy. However, I fully believe that every woman, whether your man is a provider or not, should have their own, should have something tucked aside just for a rainy day. You never know. As much as we want to be like, light of my life, trust him so much, I love him, you never know. And it's not even to say, like, even if your man, he never cheats, it never hurts to have backup. It never hurts to have a backup pile of money somewhere. What if your man one day has a rainy day and he's like, babe, we're toast, we have no money. And now you're down bad for real because none of you have money. So just have a little something on the side. It doesn't mean you need to spend it. It doesn't mean that you need to hide it from him. He can know. If he's a good man and a trusting man, you can tell him, right? It doesn't have to be a lie. It doesn't have to be a secret. But have it on the side. That's what I believe. And mind you, I'm married, and I will say I trust my husband explicitly. He's a good man. He's a providing man. However, I will have my own. For point number 3, and I say this all the time, love yourself more than you love that man or that relationship. Sometimes I think it's not even about loving the man. I think for some women, they just love the idea of the relationship, right? Like, they might have fallen out of love with that man a long time ago. But because they want to be seen by the world or whoever as a unit, they want to keep their family together, whatever it may be. So they are like in love. They can't let go of the idea that maybe this is not your person. And I will take it a little further because I know there are some people who say, okay, I stayed because of the children. I stayed because I want the children not to be in a broken home. I don't know if this is unpopular opinion, but I think sometimes it's better for the children if you walk away. It really is. Like, if you can walk away and just co-parent in a healthy way, I think that is so much better for the children than staying in a home where they are exposed to, maybe yelling, fighting, tension. Like, you think kids can't tell when, things aren't right, when mommy and daddy are fighting. Kids know. They know it and they can tell. Like, the energy shift in the house affects everyone. So I think in some scenarios, it is so much like just separate I think it is so much better to separate for the kids. Like, you have to put yourself first. You have to. You have to. You have to. Because what happens when you just accept anything and everything and you say, no, I want to stay together because I love him. But does he love you? Does he love you the same way that you love him? If the shoes were flipped, would he stay in that situation? If you were the one that cheated on him, or if you were the one that, did this unworthy thing, untrustworthy thing, would he stay in that relationship if the shoes were flipped? And even if he would, that's not necessarily a good thing. Because either way, it's a bad relationship. It's not going to work. So please, before you get into a relationship, build that self-love, build that self-worth, that self-care. Like, spend time with yourself, get to know yourself, love yourself, get to know the good and the bad parts of yourself, because they're you. Like, you can't get rid of it. There's no one in this world that's perfect. There's no one in this world that's 100% good. Everyone has bad, or not necessarily bad. Everyone has something that they need to work on. So know what you need to work on, recognize it, and be at peace with it, right? And you can move on. You can be in a healthy relationship without putting that man on a pedestal above you. Can I get an amen? And for point number 4, I touched on it before, so I'm not going to go into like a whole bunch of detail, but it's basically to heal any trauma that you might have. And it kind of goes hand in hand in knowing yourself. Like I said before, we all have trauma. We all have things that have affected us and that may continue to affect us for the rest of our lives. But the thing is, have you dealt with it? And sometimes that can mean going to outside help, go to therapy. I think a lot of people have like a kind of a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to going to therapists. Like, they think, oh, if I go to therapy, that means I'm crazy. That means I can't help myself. That means like, I'm unsuccessful somehow. No, therapy is amazing because sometimes you're so caught up in what you think is reality that you don't actually see reality. And it's hard to see outside of yourself when you're struggling with yourself. And I think a therapist can help with that. A therapist can be someone that can be like, okay, I've listened to everything that you've had to say, but have you looked at it from this point of view? And it can be like what's it? A aha moment? A ha-ha moment? Aha, is it aha moment? I think so. But it can be like an awakening of like, wow, I never thought of it like that. And it's not only for a relationship. Like, a relationship is nice and everything, but it will help you so much in just your own life. Like, imagine if you could like heal whatever traumas that you have right now that are bringing you down, right? Like, how much better you would feel about yourself, how much better life would get, how much happier you would be, right now, in the place where I am, I preach a lot of self-love and self-care. And that's because I think that I've gotten to a place where I'm deep in my self-love and self-care. However, there was a point where I was not that. There was a point where I struggled with insecurity. I struggled with loving myself, knowing who I was, knowing what I wanted to be. Like, it was just, everything was just a big question mark for me. I didn't know anything about myself. And when I started my journey to be honest with myself, because that's something that I realized in the beginning, was I wasn't being honest with myself. Like, it was always, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. But what can I do to change that woe is me to like, I helped myself, So one of the things that helped me a lot was walking in nature. Like, I remember it was the summer. I was supposed to be going to church. And I don't know, something told me, like, just go walk. Like, go for a walk. Just walk around the neighborhood, look at the trees, see the birds, see the sky. Just be part of nature. So every Sunday, I would just go on a walk. I would walk for like an hour. And while I was walking, I would start having conversations with myself. You know, sometimes I would just be going over past things. Sometimes I would just be, you know, saying what my hopes and my dreams were. Sometimes I would pray. And I will say, in those walks is where I found the most clarity. Like, I think whatever it told me, just go for a walk that day, that honestly changed my life. So yeah, confront your traumas. Go for a walk. And last but not least, point number 5, I think is the most important. And I'm going to look at you in your soul when I say this. Listen to your intuition. If you are a woman, listen to your intuition. I don't know what, like, bro. Women's intuition is a thing. It is a thing. Like, you won't know what's wrong, but you will feel it in the pit of your stomach. You will feel it in your chest. Like, there will be one day a light bulb will go off and you'll be like, that's weird. And the worst thing that you can do in that moment is ignore it. Because I've always felt like I had a strong intuition. Like, I can always tell when somebody is not a good person. Like, I don't know how, but I can always tell. And I'm always right? And that's because I listen to my intuition. My intuition always tells me, not that person. And I'm always right. I'm always right. So I need you to listen to me deep. A big part of knowing yourself as a woman is listening to that inner voice, listening to your intuition, because I promise you, it will never fail you. Your intuition will never steer you wrong. There is a reason that is called women's intuition. And I feel like, honestly, the more that I leaned into myself and loving myself and knowing myself, the stronger my intuition got. Bro, I feel like some people would be like, oh, that's hocus pocus. You're just listening to your own thoughts or something. It's true. So here you are, girlies. This whole channel is dedicated to girl talk. It's dedicated to making sure that my girls out there are staying safe and are taking care of themselves. This is what this whole channel is about. So if there's something that you want to talk about or you want me to talk about and we can have a let me know. Put it in the comments and I will make a video on it. Let me know. With that being said, I hope you like this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the future. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. And please take this seriously, because this is coming from someone who at one point was at her lowest of the low. And now my life couldn't be any better. So please, I will listen to me. I don't know. I'm not a therapist or nothing. I'm not a life coach or nothing, but I will listen. Okay, love you guys. And please take care of yourselves. Bye.